Okay, let's talk about Essay 4 Essentials. What are the essential things that you'll need to do for this essay? Now, just like every other essay, we're going to have an introduction, we will have body paragraphs, and we're going to have a conclusion. That never changes when it comes to essays. We always have those things. We're going to have a thesis statement. Now, this thesis statement will be argumentative in nature. It's going to make a claim that you will need to prove and argue in your essay. Okay, we're going to have a video about that. And of course, your introduction and conclusion, we've already done readings on those things. Go ahead and take a look in your syllabus if you've forgotten to do those readings or if you need to review those readings. And that gives you a really good handle on how to make an introduction, how to make a conclusion. Now, what are some things we're going to need to do in this essay? So the very first paragraph is going to be dedicated to context. So context, I guess not necessarily the first paragraph. There's 3 portions. Maybe you'll need more than 1 paragraph to provide context. That's normal, that happens. And if you only need 1, that's normal as well. There's no specific requirement here. But this essay is 4 to 6 pages long. So you'll need to do more than just the 5-paragraph essay, guys. You're going to need a full, complete essay. And there's going to be 3 main parts. The first part of your essay is going to be providing context. Where did this argument come from? Why is it something that we argue about? Why is this something that we still argue about? Or why is this a new argument that no one's talking about, but we should talk about? You need to explain the context. You're not making the argument at this point. You're just explaining maybe what both sides of this argument think, where this argument came from, the history of the argument, some of the ramifications from this argument. You're not taking a side just yet. In this part, we call it objective. During this part of the essay, you don't want to come across as partisan or as incredibly one-sided. This part of the essay, when you're providing context, you're just giving the facts. You're just reporting, this is the argument, this is what the argument's about, this is where it came from, this is what people tend to say about the argument. You don't want to look like you can't look at this objectively. When you look at something objectively, it means that you're looking at it fairly. You're not looking at it through, basically it means that you can look at something without having to take a side, okay? Because you have to remember it's possible that your reader is unfamiliar with this argument. And it's also possible that your reader is on the other side of this argument and they'll want to read the context portion. What you're doing is you're trying to assure your reader that you are well versed in the topic, that you understand the argument well. You're kind of proving to your reader that you've done your research and that you understand this situation in a real way. That's not just, hey, all I know is my opinion and that's all I care about. Because if all you know is your opinion and that's all you care about, then you're not going to make a good argument and no one's going to listen to you. You have to come across and say, listen, this is the reality. Okay, we can all agree on this reality. This is something that's not up in question. So this part is the objective part. This is the part where you're not trying to make your points. You're just saying, this is how we got to this argument. This is why we have this argument. This is what people say, and you're not providing any kind of reasons why you're right or wrong. The next part is the argument portion, and this is going to be the longest portion. Now, I know it looks like there's just 3 paragraphs here. That is not what I'm saying. There are 3 portions. So you're going to probably have multiple paragraphs in all 3 of these sections. Just be prepared for that. Especially in order to make a 4 to 6 page essay work, you're going to have more than that. But the argument portion probably will be the longest portion. It's going to have the most paragraphs. And in the argument portion, each paragraph will be another reason why your thesis statement is correct. So once you get to the argumentative portion, this is subjective, okay? It's the actual arguing portion. It's the portion where you're providing reasons why you're right. So each paragraph should be a new reason why your thesis statement is right. And each paragraph should focus on a different thing. You shouldn't be repeating the same things over and over again. So each paragraph, you make a point, and you'll justify it with logic, reason, sometimes with sources. You'll maybe paint a picture for your audience where they can understand your argument better. Okay? Think about what we talked about in essay 3. In essay 3, you took a look at someone else's argument and you analyzed that argument for their strengths and weaknesses. You said, okay, when they brought this up, it was probably helpful because it made the audience more likely to agree with the argument. When they brought this up, it probably wasn't helpful, probably confused the audience. You don't want to do that. You don't want to confuse your audience. You want your audience to agree with you. So during the argumentative portion of your essay, you're just providing reasons why your audience should agree with you. Then there will be the refutation. Okay? And let's talk about what a refutation is. And this can just be one paragraph of your essay. And basically what the refutation is this. No matter what argument, no matter how good your essay is, there is going to be objections. So someone's going to object to your argument. This means, this is kind of like when people say, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you haven't thought about this thing. And then you know how people are. If you didn't address this one thing, then it makes it seem as though, well, okay, how can I believe you if you didn't talk about this one thing? So, for instance, I give the example. Let's suppose you're making the argument that Vincennes University needs to have a water park, right? And you've given me all kinds of reasons why this is a great thing. But you know that people are going to say, yeah, those might be decent reasons, but what about the weather? You know, it seems like a water park is only open in the summer months, but a school is open in the winter months. So it doesn't seem like a good idea. Now so that would be an objection to my thesis statement that Vincennes University should make a water park, should have a water park. So my job as the person making the argument is to say this. I need to state in the first part of the paragraph, many people will say that Vincennes University should not have a water park because water parks are only functional in the times of year when the school is closed. Therefore, it wouldn't help make students happier or faculty happier because it would be closed when they're there. Okay, so that would be the first part of that paragraph. The rest of the paragraph, the whole rest of the paragraph, is dedicated to either saying why that's not really a good reason to not agree with the thesis statement, or I would answer and I would overcome. So for instance, one way I could do that, I might say, while these things are true, this would not be an issue if the water park were an indoor water park. An indoor water park would work all year round, and it would be the most logical solution to this problem. Okay? Maybe I would go on a little bit more, but essentially I need to address the objection that's likely to happen and take it seriously and say why it's not really a valid objection. Or I could say, many people will claim that Vincennes University should not have a water park because water parks are only open in the summertime and not in the wintertime, which is when the campus is normally open. Okay, I've got that part. I always have to say that at the beginning so my reader knows what I'm responding to. So the rest of the paragraph I might say, this is true, however, this addresses a major problem with most universities. Most universities do not make money during the summer months. And this is specifically because they have no way to draw students to their campus in the summer. But there's no reason not to have classes in the summer. In fact, at Vincennes University, there are 3 sessions that students can attend, and they can live on campus during these months. The fact that a water park is a summer attraction actually helps my argument because it makes the university more attractive during months that would normally have no income. Okay, cool. So there's different ways to do it, but you need to make it so that your reader says, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess the summer months objection isn't valid. I guess that's not a good objection." Okay. So you need to predict what is the most likely objection that you're going to get whenever you make your argument. You're going to address a lot of this in your argument, but there's going to be a few things, and there's got to be at least one thing for this argument to work. For your argumentative essay, you have to have a refutation paragraph, at least one, which means you have to overcome at least one argument against your argument, one objection to your argument. But basically, those are the three things you'll need to do in the body of the essay. You're going to provide context. You're going to prove your argument with a lot of paragraphs that are focused on reasons why your thesis statement is correct. And you're going to overcome at least one, possibly more, objection that the audience may come up with. Then you're going to have a conclusion, just like always. And like always, you're going to have a works cited page at the end. So don't forget, you're going to have 3 works cited entries in your essay. That's really important. And you're going to be citing all those sources in your essay as well. So that is what we're looking at with this assignment. That's essentially all the things you're going to be doing in the argumentative essay. And this is how it's going to be done. Guys, go ahead and get to work.